What's going on, everybody? Jeremy with Detroit Tech. Today we're talking about headsets. And yes, I said headsets, not headphones. Here we have the HyperX Cloud 2 gaming headset and the Logitech G Pro X gaming headset. Both headsets straight out of what I would call the budget category, but sit firmly in the high-end entry-level market. Let's see which one's worth the money. Now, we did a video on the Logitech G Pro X a little while ago, which of course you can check out right over here. If you want a more in-depth review of those, check out that video. This is more of a general comparison between the two. For starters, let's talk price. We bought the G Pro X from Logitech for $130. Corey got the HyperX Cloud 2s for $70. You'll find them generally between that $100 depending on where you look. And I'll put some links in the description below if you'd like to support the channel. So let's start with the most important factor, style. These headsets are hilariously similar looking. The headband is essentially the same. Ear cup braces are both reminiscent of Bear Dynamic, and the ear cups are similarly shaped with exposed wiring. I mean, not like exposed. They're still covered and shielded. They're just not internal. The ear cups are both soft touch plastic with the logo on a slightly different material. G Pro X, a little more higher end feeling with like brushed aluminum over here. I like the G Pro X a little bit more, seems more modern to me, but they're both pretty simple designs with no crazy like RGB embellishments that you like can't even see when you're wearing them. Build quality is essentially the same. Good quality plastic with metal where it like really needs to be metal. One thing I will note here is that the Cloud 2s have a cover for the microphone port. And I love the idea of keeping dust from getting in the jack, but the problem is the cover isn't attached to the headset. I mean, look at this. It's super small piece of rubber. I'm honestly surprised Corey hasn't lost it already. Fit is similar as well. I'm starting to think they bought the basic frame from the same OEM. They both have solid clamping force without crushing my relatively large noggin. Both come with leatherette and cloth memory foam ear pads. The leatherette feels nice and luxurious, but can get pretty warm. Cloth pads don't feel quite as nice, but keep me from sweating like 5 minutes into the gaming session. Accessories is really where we start to see like actual differences. The HyperX Cloud 2s come with the aforementioned extra ear cups, the detachable mic, and the audio control box, which is the DAC and volume control. And that's basically it. The G Pro X has these, detachable mic, extra ear pads, and the USB DAC. However, has a detachable cable. So it comes with two different ones. One is longer and basically expected to be used just for the desktop or non-mobile things, and it does have an inline control and volume control. And there's a shorter cable with an inline mic, so you can either take the headset on the go or use it with a console controller. There is also an included cable splitter, so you can forego the DAC altogether if you need to for whatever reason. Now, with the price difference between the two, it looks like you're basically paying for the extra accessories here. Still, Logitech gets the win there for me. Now, with all this cool stuff, how simple are they to use? Well, Cloud 2s are literally just plug and play. I plugged them in with Windows, installed the correct drivers, thankfully, and that was it. Discord does, of course, make you switch the input and output since it doesn't just pull from Windows settings, but that's Discord's problem, not theirs. The G Pro X are plug and play to a degree. You can plug them in and get right to using them. That is, if you don't want to tweak any of the software settings. So initial setup and ease of use for both is basically plug and play. For that, it's a tie, but ease of actual use does differ. The Cloud 2s have no software to use with them. You have the inline DAC module, which has the volume control, mic gain control, and that's really it. It's super, super simple. The G Pro X's are a bit of a different story. They work with Logitech G Hub software, and I won't give you a deep dive, but you have the ability to change the EQ of the drivers, how the mic sounds, with the blue voice with an exclamation point software, and basically adjust every tiny detail. Ease of use here definitely goes to the Cloud 2s, but the versatility due to the software, that point goes over to Logitech. Audio is another topic that's really pretty close. They're both fine. They have a little boosted low end, a little boosted high end, mostly clear, easy to understand lyrics when listening to songs, and can get a little bit muddy when there's a lot going on in the low mids. They're not offensive unless you really only listen to like HD 800s and up. Now for the nitty gritty, how are these really, how do they perform while gaming? There are a couple main points to go over here. How's the audio like in-game? I'll split this into two different categories, normal sound and surround sound. For normal in-game sound, they're both very good. The Cloud 2s are good at positioning an enemy in the space like around me. The sound signature boosted a little bit in the upper mids really helps you hear footsteps of the enemies. They help you get immersed in the game and don't really distract you. This is where the closed back nature of the headsets really does come in handy. Helps block out outside noise from, The HyperX are very similar. The advantage they have is in the G-Hub software, where you can change the EQ curve of the drivers, and they have an FPS preset, which bumps up the footsteps frequency and really actually does help in game. They help block out outside noise as well, and the other advantage they have is the side tone. This basically feeds your voice from the mic through the headset so you can hear yourself. Personally, I really love this feature, as I either end up like yelling because I can't hear myself, or I just sound really muffled, which I hate. It's just weird. And it works a bit better than open back headphones because if you set your mic gain properly, then you don't get as much outside noise. Now, if you've watched our G Pro X full review and the review of the Creative 6.5 amp, you know I'm not a huge fan of like simulated surround sound. In fact, I heartily dislike it. Some people like it and that's fine, but to me, it just often feels like they just make it louder and add a bunch of reverb, and somehow it's supposed to tell me where a person is in 3D space. No, the Logitech version of this is no better. However, the way HyperX implements their 7.1 surround sound is surprisingly not terrible. Footsteps and gunfire is not as indistinct as, the Sexfi or Logitech versions of it. I didn't just play through like a game with it to say I did it. It really wasn't terrible. To really see how helpful it is, I'd have to spend another like 20 hours or so gaming with it. I'm a slow learner, but I prefer to use my Beyerdynamic DT990s or the SR80Es from Grado when I game. Mic quality is the final piece of this puzzle. For reference, I use a Rode NT-USB as my daily driver mic. Here's a quick sample of that. The NT-USB is a large diaphragm condenser mic. It tends to have a nice clear mid-range with a warm low end to really fill out the voice.
The mic is basically the same as many headset mics, pretty mid-rangey, there's not much low end, and it sounds a little bit nasally and, at least on my vocals, pretty sibilant, but the person in general is pretty easy to understand.
The mic by itself is pretty standard for a headset mic. It's clear if a bit mid-rangey and not quite as harsh as some can be. But the real magic happens when you enable Blue Voice with an exclamation point. This opens up a whole new level of customization. The Pro presets aren't anything crazy. They're great places to start. You find one you like and start tweaking. I'm using the TSM Daquan preset currently. Then you can get into the Blue Voice with an exclamation point presets. Here's the AM radio station, of course the FM radio station. Then there's the Broadcaster 1 and the Broadcaster 2. A little bit different, but they're making sure you have a nice big boomy voice. And then there's the high voice, loud and soft options, and the low voice, loud and soft options. And I'm pretty sure Corey will agree I need to start with the loud voice option. Coming to a firm conclusion is really, really tough here. It really just depends on your situation. If you can afford it, I always recommend getting a good pair of actual headphones and a completely separate mic, either USB or analog. But these are both very good options for more budget-minded, or if you just like a bit less clutter around your setup. The Cloud 2s are definitely less expensive and really are just plug and play, very simple. They'll do exactly what you need them to do, while the HyperX are more expensive. You get, more accessories with them, and the software you get does help the audio and definitely makes your voice sound better to people on the other side. But no one will really be complaining about the sound of the Cloud 2 mic either. For me, I prefer the G Pro X, and I'm going to make Corey take them when he goes on work trips, so I benefit from the better mic. But really, you will definitely not be disappointed either way. Thanks for watching, everybody. If this video was helpful, hit the thumbs up and subscribe. If it wasn't, hit the thumbs down. Either way, let us know in the comments below what you use as your gaming headset, and we'll catch you in the next one.
And it goes like